Keion Henderson is one of the most recognizable pastors and motivational speakers in modern Christian media. Known for his energetic preaching style, inspirational messages, and large online following, he has built a reputation as a charismatic faith leader who speaks openly about personal growth, purpose, relationships, and spiritual success. Over the years, his sermons and videos have reached millions of viewers across churches, social media platforms, and online broadcasts. However, alongside his popularity, Keion Henderson has also found himself at the center of controversy more than once, especially when it comes to discussions about money, giving, and spiritual leadership. Recently, one particular claim connected to Keion Henderson has sparked major debate online and left many people questioning what he truly meant. According to viral clips and discussions circulating across social media, Henderson allegedly suggested that people who benefit from his ministry or teachings owe him $2,100. That statement immediately caught the internet's attention and triggered strong reactions from both supporters and critics alike. For many viewers, the idea of a pastor suggesting followers owe him a specific amount of money felt shocking, controversial, and difficult to understand. Some people interpreted the statement as manipulative or arrogant, while others defended Henderson by arguing that spiritual leaders deserve financial support for the work they do. As clips spread online, the conversation quickly became larger than one sermon or one pastor. It evolved into a broader debate about faith, tithing, ministry finances, and the relationship between religious leaders and their audiences. The controversy reportedly began after Keion Henderson discussed the value of spiritual mentorship and the importance of honoring those who provide guidance, wisdom, and encouragement. In the video that generated attention, he appeared to compare spiritual leadership to other professional services people willingly pay for in everyday life. His argument suggested that if individuals can invest financially in education, coaching, entertainment, or business development, they should also be willing to invest in their spiritual growth and the people helping guide them. Some viewers understood his message as a broader conversation about generosity and support for ministry work. Others, however, became fixated on the specific number mentioned, $2,100. That exact figure quickly became the center of online discussion. Critics questioned where the number came from and whether suggesting followers owe that amount crossed ethical boundaries for a spiritual leader. As social media discussions intensified, people began debating whether Henderson's message reflected genuine teaching about giving or whether it resembled pressure and financial manipulation. Videos reacting to his comments accumulated thousands of views, with audiences dissecting every word, tone, and implication behind the statement. Supporters of Keion Henderson argued that many pastors and ministries rely on donations to continue operating and reaching communities. They pointed out that churches require funding for staff, outreach programs, facilities, media production, charitable work, and ministry expansion. From this perspective, encouraging people to give financially is not unusual within many religious traditions. They also emphasized that followers always have the freedom to choose whether or not they donate. Defenders further argued that motivational speakers, life coaches, consultants, and public figures across many industries regularly charge substantial amounts for access to their knowledge, advice, and expertise. In their view, spiritual leaders should not automatically be criticized simply because discussions about money make people uncomfortable. However, critics saw the situation very differently. For them, the issue was not whether ministries deserve financial support, but rather the language and framing surrounding the statement. Some people felt uncomfortable with the idea of a pastor telling followers they owe him money personally because of spiritual influence or inspiration received through his teachings. This concern reflects larger ongoing conversations about prosperity preaching and financial expectations within modern religious culture. Many critics believe some ministries place excessive focus on wealth, donations, and financial success while risking exploitation of emotionally vulnerable followers seeking hope, guidance, or spiritual comfort. Questions about accountability and transparency often emerge during these debates. Viewers sometimes wonder how ministry funds are used, whether leaders personally benefit financially, and where the line exists between legitimate ministry support and excessive financial pressure. Keion Henderson's comments became especially controversial because of how directly they appeared to address the audience. Some listeners interpreted the message as motivational and symbolic, while others felt it sounded transactional or demanding. The wording itself became a major source of online backlash. One reason the situation spread so quickly online is because religion and money remain emotionally charged topics for many people. Faith communities often involve deep trust, emotional connection, and personal vulnerability. When financial expectations become part of those relationships, audiences naturally react strongly, especially when statements appear unusually direct or specific. The internet amplified the situation even further. Social media platforms thrive on controversy, especially involving celebrities, pastors, or public figures making provocative statements. Short clips removed from broader context can quickly go viral, creating emotional reactions before audiences fully understand the complete discussion surrounding them. Some people who defended Henderson argued that critics may have misunderstood or oversimplified his message. They suggested his point was less about literally demanding money and more about emphasizing the value of spiritual guidance in people's lives. According to this interpretation, the $2,100 figure may have been intended symbolically or rhetorically rather than as an actual obligation placed on every listener. Still, for many viewers, the controversy raised important concerns about the language religious leaders use when discussing money. Spiritual authority carries significant influence, and critics worry that vulnerable followers may feel guilt, pressure, or obligation when pastors frame financial giving in personal terms. The debate surrounding Keion Henderson also reflects changing attitudes toward churches and ministry finances in the modern era. Many younger audiences today are more skeptical of wealthy pastors, luxury lifestyles associated with some ministries, and teachings heavily focused on prosperity and financial blessing. Transparency and authenticity have become increasingly important expectations for public religious figures. At the same time, many believers continue strongly supporting pastors who encourage generosity and financial giving as part of faith practice. For them, supporting ministry work is viewed as an act of worship, gratitude, and partnership rather than manipulation. These differing perspectives help explain why reactions to Henderson's comments became so divided online. Another factor fueling discussion is Keion Henderson's visibility and popularity. As a well-known pastor with a large digital platform, his words naturally receive more scrutiny than comments made by smaller local church leaders. Public figures in faith communities often face intense reactions because audiences project broader concerns about religion and leadership onto individual controversies. Despite the backlash, Keion Henderson continues maintaining a strong following of supporters who appreciate his motivational style and teachings about personal growth, faith, relationships, and purpose. Many followers view him as inspiring, empowering, and relatable, particularly because of his energetic communication style and modern approach to ministry. The controversy has also sparked broader discussions about what followers expect from spiritual leaders. Some people believe pastors should avoid discussing personal financial expectations altogether in order to prevent misunderstandings or perceptions of greed. Others believe faith leaders should be able to speak openly about money, especially when supporting churches and ministries requires financial contributions. One of the biggest questions audiences continue asking is whether Henderson truly intended the statement literally or whether online reactions exaggerated the message beyond its original meaning. As often happens online, viral clips can remove nuance and context from larger sermons or conversations, making statements appear harsher or more extreme than intended. Still, regardless of interpretation, the reaction demonstrates how sensitive conversations about faith and money remain. People place enormous trust in spiritual leaders, and that trust creates heightened emotional responses whenever financial expectations become part of public messaging. For many observers, the controversy serves as a reminder of the growing tension between modern celebrity-style ministry and traditional expectations of pastoral humility and service. As pastors increasingly build massive online brands, media platforms, and business ventures, audiences continue debating how spiritual leadership should balance influence, wealth, and responsibility. Keion Henderson's situation also highlights how quickly public opinion forms online. Within hours, audiences often decide whether someone is inspirational or exploitative based on short clips, headlines, or reactions from influencers and commentators. Once controversy begins spreading digitally, it becomes difficult to control the narrative or provide additional context. At its core, the discussion surrounding the alleged $2,100 claim reflects larger questions about value, influence, and spiritual authority. Should people financially support those who positively impact their lives spiritually? If so, where should boundaries exist? How should religious leaders communicate about money responsibly without appearing manipulative or transactional? These questions have existed within religious communities for generations and will likely continue evolving as churches adapt to digital culture and modern media environments. The rise of online ministry, livestream preaching, and social media platforms has changed how audiences interact with faith leaders and how financial support is requested or discussed publicly. Whether people agree or disagree with Keion Henderson's comments, one thing is clear: the conversation struck a nerve because it touches on issues many people already feel conflicted about. Faith, money, trust, generosity, and leadership are deeply emotional topics, especially when combined together publicly. As reactions continue circulating online, audiences remain divided between those who see Henderson's message as a reasonable discussion about valuing spiritual guidance and those who view it as inappropriate financial pressure from a religious leader. Both perspectives reflect broader cultural conversations about modern ministry and the responsibilities that come with influence. For now, the controversy continues fueling debate, commentary, and analysis across social media and religious communities alike. Some people remain critical, others remain supportive, and many continue trying to understand exactly what Keion Henderson intended when making the statement that sparked so much attention. In the end, the situation reveals how complicated the relationship between faith leaders and followers can become in today's media-driven world. Spiritual influence carries emotional weight, and discussions involving money naturally intensify public reactions. Whether viewed as motivational teaching or controversial messaging, Keion Henderson's comments have undeniably sparked an ongoing conversation that extends far beyond one viral video. Thanks for the watching and subscribe.